Small island states, also known as SIDS, are a collection of 58 countries that are usually grouped together by a set of common characteristics like a small but fast-growing population, low-lying geography, and high vulnerability to the impacts of climate change. These countries are also known to be great tourist attractions, especially evident to popular tourist destinations like the Maldives and Fiji, both of which have tourism in the heart of their economy. Lush landscapes that are rich in biodiversity are home to the rich collection of fauna and flora filled with exotic creatures. Unfortunately, the low-lying geography in wonderful tropical climate conditions also mean that these islands are highly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. The world first recognized the vulnerability of these nations back in 1992, when the UN Conference for Environment and Development identified the need for supporting sustainable development in SIDS within Article 17 of Agenda 21. The conclusion reached through decades of convention following Agenda 21 was the same. SIDS are highly vulnerable to climate change. Now let's talk about Maldives. It's situated in the Indian Ocean south of Sri Lanka, and it's a beautiful country made up of 1,200 coral islands. It has a very small landscape and it is known as a luxurious and highly desirable tourist destination. Sadly, 80% of these islands are at risk of total submersion to the sea by 2050. Kiribati is another such country at risk of submersion, as most places among the island are only 1 meter above the sea level. The highest places of Kiribati stand at a mere 4 meters above the sea level. Scientists started noticing this rapid rise in the water levels around the 1990s. It is the people who live in these islands that suffer the most because of it. Can you imagine the helplessness of having your lands, your homes, and your entire world being consumed by the invading shoreline? Sea levels rise when increasing temperatures cause glaciers to melt and the meltwater joins the ocean. On top of this, the heat also makes water particles expand, which means that the volume of the seas increase. The most dangerous immediate consequence of this rise is the contamination of freshwater sources. When the sea level is beyond a certain point, they contaminate the rivers by flowing inwards. Once this happens, the resident will have to rely on water purification centers or leave their homes in search of better living conditions. On top of that, these people are also at mercy of extreme weather events like hurricanes, typhoons, and cyclones. These weather conditions, already scary enough of their own, is increasingly getting more intense and more frequent, again because of climate change. At the bottom of all of this, the reality is that the infrastructure of these islands are not built to withstand these devastating events, nor do they have the economic capability to rebuild their entire countries to be able to withstand the challenges of the climate crisis. Even more hidden is the issues of governance. Because they are a collection of islands, any holistic and widespread development becomes a more complicated process than the countries situated in a single landscape. Communication beyond the main island of the country and the peripheral islands tend to be limited. It all sounds so dire, and I'm sure you might all feel quite helpless, just like the people of these islands. But this crisis also presents the best opportunity to understand how we can build strategies to fight climate change. How exactly? Well, these beautiful islands are vulnerable because they are the frontline defenders of climate change. If we focus all our efforts on mitigating the impacts these communities face, we will actually be winning this fight against global warming. Saving these countries is a global cause with positive consequences for the entire world, and honestly, I think it's a cause worth fighting for.